Hey, what's up, y'all? This is Rodney, and I'm back, and I just wanted to come and run my mouth for a quick second and talk about some people. Listen, 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 listen. Okay? I am not trying to police anyone's blackness. That is not what I'm here to do. Girl, I don't care. At the end of the day, honestly, truly, girl, I don't care. But I had to give my little 2 cents on this, okay? So, Meghan Markle. We've had conversations about Meghan a few times here on my channel. Um, Meghan Markle says she never spoke to her parents about race because she wasn't treated like a black woman until moving to the UK. Um, Meghan Markle has claimed that um, she was never treated like a black woman until she married Prince Harry and joined the royal family. The Duchess, who hasn't been on good terms with her in-laws after making allegations pertaining to the alleged racism and bullying she endured while in the UK, is getting candid in her Netflix documentary, Harry and Meghan. In the docuseries' second episode, Meghan openly shares that she has never um, had to put much focus around the color of her skin because being black was never an issue. The way it was when she made the move to England. Prior to settling down with Harry across the pond, the 41-year-old added that she had never been treated or seen as a black woman back home in Los Angeles, and that living in the UK definitely started putting a lot of things into perspective. Now, people are very aware of my race because they made it such an issue in the UK, she added, referring to the press. With that said, though, because of how she says she was treated in England, and it made her reflect on her relationship with her parents, explaining that she couldn't recall ever having a conversation with them about racism in America, a topic which most black parents tend to have with their children early on. I've said this, I'm gonna say it again. This is no tea, no shade. Let me start out by saying this. I have read articles, and I could be wrong because I have not read every article surrounding Meghan Markle. Meghan Markle identifies as a biracial woman. Meghan Markle does not identify as a black woman. I don't think there's anything wrong with that because the truth is Meghan is biracial. So it ain't nothing wrong with Meghan identifying as what she is, which is a biracial woman, right? I think one of the problems that I started to have with folk is like whenever she got married to Harry, I know a lot of y'all were excited. Oh my God, we finally got us a black princess, blah, blah, blah. And I was sitting on the sidelines like, girl, who is the black princess? Because Meghan don't even say she black. Y'all, like, again, not to police anybody's blackness, but girl, we can't make somebody something that they don't want to be. It's one thing if it was Holly Berry's. It's one thing if it was Claudia Jordan, Melissa Ford. You know what I'm saying? Girl, Tracy Ellis Ross. The girls who are biracial, but girl, they say they black. Right? We know Tracy got a white daddy. We know Holly Berry's got a white mom. I don't know why I keep calling her Holly Berry's. We know Holly Berry has a white mother. But girl, they say they black women. So in my book, in my eyes, they black. You know what I'm saying? In my eyes, one, when I see Meghan, I never thought Meghan had a black mama until I found out she had a black mama. And then two, like I said, Meghan doesn't even identify as black. So I'm not going to make Meghan be something that she don't even want to be. And I suggest y'all start doing the same. Girl, no shade. I have biracial people in my family. My aunt is white, by marriage, of course. My aunt is white. My uncle is black. They have kids. Now, I'm not close with my cousins like that, but I don't ever really recall hearing anybody in the family say they identify as white. As far as we was concerned, they was black. You know what I'm saying? They was black. And that's how, girl, they was black. White mama and all. You know what I'm saying? I told y'all. I said what it was. And I've said this on my channel years ago. I want the people in the new people. Shout out to the new people. But I want the old heads to let the new people know I've been said this. Meghan took her ass across them waters thinking that she was going to be treated like a rich white woman. And she was in for a rude awakening. And they treated her like a rich black woman. Emphasis on black and woman. Meghan identifies as a white woman, if anything. That's why it was such a shock to her that when she got over there with the white folks, girl, they said, no ma'am, no ma'am, no ma'am, no ma'am. And then she got to run her ass back over here. I don't want to make biracial people feel uncomfortable with what I'm saying. I don't. If you are biracial and you identify as biracial, it is what it is. I mean, that's what you are. But if you're biracial and you say I'm biracial but I identify as black, I'm with that too. You know what I'm saying? What I'm basically trying to say, and I said it earlier, is girl, if you tell me you black, then girl, you black. If you say you biracial, then you biracial. But I'm not gonna make you be something or put you in a category that you don't even put yourself in. Like Meghan. Stop putting Meghan under the rich black woman category because Meghan don't even want to be there. Tracy, Alicia, Melissa, Claudia, them the rich black women. Meghan is the rich white woman with a black mama with locks. Now I don't know how your mama black with locks and girl, you don't even know you. Let me shut up, child. Let me shut up, child. Shout out to Meghan. Shout out to Prince Harry. Shout out to them white kids they got. Just shout out to the whole family, child. You know, another thing I wanted to add too is, you know, Meghan was telling a story about what her mother was called the N-word. You know, I just think that Meghan realized, this is what I think. I think that Meghan realized the things that black people go through, what black women go through. And I felt like Meghan realized that, you know, she had a side of her that she could tap into. And it was called the white side. And I'm going to ride it till the wheels fall off. And if I can go through life and not have to go through what my mother has probably went through and other black people have went through, then girl, that's what I'm going to do. And it wasn't until she went over across the pond and girl, they started treating her like her mama. And there wasn't none of that, oh, you passing over here. It ain't none of that, oh, you biracial. Girl, your mama black, so you black. And you will be treated as such. You know, you hear people all the time tell the stories, like biracial people tell stories about how, like, when they grew up, it was hard on them because, you know, they were not accepted. Either they were not black enough. I think Claudia has spoken about this. I'm sure, like, it's, you know, more folks probably have similar stories. where like, growing up they were not black enough for the black kids, wasn't white enough for the white kids, so they went through, they went through a lot. When I was growing up, girl, the people that was mixed, girl, we just called them black. So I don't know what stories. I will say this much. I have never been privy to hear those stories, right? I'm not saying that they were not had, but I'm just saying that anybody who was biracial in my school, like growing up or whatever, girl, you was just black. Now, I don't know how they felt. Like, I don't know if they felt like they were not black enough, all right? Or because they did have a white parent or whatever, right? That we'll just use white and black. I don't know if they felt like they were not white enough for the white kids, not black enough to hang out with us, right? Or whatever the case may be. It is what it is, child. Meghan. I saw pictures of Meghan. I saw a picture or two of Meghan when she was younger. Now, I will say, based off of those pictures and that 4C hair that I saw, girl, Meghan pressed her shit real fast. Meghan got that hot comb real fast, baby. Meghan been relaxing her shit ever since she found out, girl, that I could pass for white. Girl, if I can press this shit, put a little perm on it, honey, and I can pass for white, honey, that'll make my life a whole lot easier, honey. That's what she said. That's what she did, too. So, Kelvin. I don't know his name. Kelvin Hunter. Kelvin Hunter. He did an interview. Who did he do the interview with? Kevin is a mess. What's his name? The real Kelvin Hunter? Oh, thank you. I know somebody said bless you. Thank you. Okay, so Kelvin Hunter did an interview with the West Side Gazette. It was a 2-part interview. I read the article. It wasn't very long. I mean, it was long, but it wasn't long. I mean, it was long if you really not interested in what Kevin got to say. I mean, I read it because, girl, it's, I got to report back to y'all. I took a couple of notes. It's only certain parts that I really want to go into detail about. Let me just start off by saying this. Kevin, it sounds like he didn't have the best childhood. So I feel like it's only right to acknowledge. Again, he didn't have the best childhood. It seems like there may be some childhood trauma there. Not to sound mean, I just believe that even with childhood trauma, at some point in your life, once you get to a certain age, it's up to you to, unfortunately, have to fix, correct the things that were unfortunately handed to you, the cards that you were dealt. We can't go through our entire lives always blaming stuff on what happened to us when we were children. Yes, we can say this is what happened. A lot of times we know, not a lot of times, what happens when you are a child, it shapes who you are. It can shape who you are as an adult. And that can play a big factor in how you move when you're an adult. But at some point, you have to be the driver of the car, right? And you have to get whatever help that you need in order to make sure that whatever happened to you when you were a child, it just doesn't overtake your life. You can't continue to move through life. I'm just gonna go ahead and say you can't continue to move through life as a trifling ass piece of shit. And well, this is what happened to me when I was a child. We get it. We get it. I get it. But once we get a certain age, it's kind of like, okay, girl, you can't be 6 and still blaming it. You know what I'm saying, girl? You can't be 60 and 70 and 50 and, girl, you think that, girl, your get out of jail free card is your childhood. Does that sound mean? So Kelvin, whatever his name is, he lives in Florida. Okay. Some of the things that I found out about Kevin that I did not know. He has a sister and a brother. The man who he thought was his father. No, the man who he thought was his father was not his father. The man who he thought was his godfather actually was his biological father. It sounds like his mama was a hot ass mess. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. It sounds like the mama was a hot ass mess, and it sounded like his mama was a hoe. From the way Kevin explained it, it sounded like his mama was a hoe. And girl, she got it in. Kevin's mother was involved with the man that lived on the 8th floor of their building. They lived on the 5th floor. He was married. He had 3 kids. Eventually, he ended up leaving his wife and ended up marrying his mother. I guess his mama was being messy one day. They end up moving out of the projects. I'm going to put the links to the articles so y'all can read it if you want to. I would say just read it, child. If you want to, child. I can go do what you want to do. But I'll put the links to the articles in the description box. So I guess his mama wanted to flex one day. And I guess, mess with the ex-wife. And so they end up going back to their old stomping grounds. And I guess the ex-wife was tired of her shit, and the ex-wife sliced his mama with a blade. Now, I'm not saying you had it coming. But girl, you should have left that lady alone. You done already stole her husband and left her over there with them 3 kids by herself. Now you want to go back and play in her face? That's why your ass got cut. Okay? I bet you would have wished you would have stayed her ass home then. One of John's, which was the man that, his mother married, one of his daughters ended up being a drug addict, and she ended up killing herself. And I guess after the death of his stepsister, his father kind of took it hard, and he said that he became very mean, and he pretty much became a drunk. And it would be times where his mother would also side with John. I guess she would. He also stated that it would be times like the mama wouldn't even come home. Like the mama would be gone 3 to 4 days at a time. I guess because she didn't want to deal with her husband's shit. But when she did come home, I think he said something about like she would basically tag team them with John. I guess out of frustration, and I guess trying to appease John, that she basically took his side. He ended up moving out, I think, at 15 years old, getting his own apartment. He would work at jobs like McDonald's and stuff. He would lie about his age in order to get jobs. Once the jobs found out that he was underage, they would fire him. He would just go to another job. So he had some shit going on. He ended up meeting Wendy. Eventually, he ended up meeting Wendy Williams. I've said this, I'll say it again, because I don't want nobody to act like I'm not giving. Listen, you can't take away what Kevin has done for the Wendy Williams brand, okay? And the proof is in the pudding. Because if Wendy Williams was together, or at least appeared together, when her and Kevin were together as a couple, and we see what happened after he was no longer in the picture, the show, everything pretty much went down in flames. That just goes to show how much power and control um, that Kevin actually had. Because again, when he was no longer in the picture, baby, it really sunk like the Titanic. Kevin was the reason why Wendy really had that. For what he says, I believe him too. I'm not gonna lie. He was pretty much the reason behind the. He created the Wendy Williams show. Kevin played a major part in Wendy Williams' career. I remember him saying in the interview that like when he first met her, he really didn't have shit. He was trying to get it how he lived. And Wendy told him, and I believe this too, girl. Wendy told him that he doesn't have to worry about money when he's with her. She basically got him. I said, bitch. And that's where your ass fucked up at. Okay? That's where you, and he was like, he told her no, basically he was I guess he was still gonna try to he was still gonna try to make it do what it do. Even though he really he didn't have a lot of money, especially compared to what Wendy was making at the time. He still didn't, I guess, want to leech off of her. I said, you ain't got no problem doing it now? Oh, girl. Okay. So now this is the part where I'm going to read. Kevin is a mess. Kevin is a mess, y'all. Okay. So I'm going to start at this part. When I look back at what we did for an entire decade, it makes me upset. So the interviewer said, upset, you both became multimillionaires and moved TV culture. There is now 1,000 YouTubers giving the world daily tea that are a makeshift offspring of the Wendy Williams show. Do you mean that rather you feel unappreciated? And then this is what Kevin had to say. He said, it's clear to say that after I left, the show tumbled hard. My intellectual property of the creation of the Wendy Williams show and how it had come across was key. They would not have experienced the success they had without me. Wendy brought in 1.3 to 1.8 million viewers daily. Once I was gone, the people around her had her looking crazy sitting on that screen. They certainly didn't care that she kept getting getting the help that she needed away from TV, but I cared. I always cared. I said, these niggas y'all have a real strange way of showing that you care. I'm gonna shut up though. My heart was always in the right place with her. Because sometimes I feel like sometimes I do feel like I'm in a twilight zone. Yes, we had our problems, but it was so personal of what I and she built. That's the gag. That's the part that I don't understand. You and Wendy Williams built an empire together, and you let that empire come tumbling down, girl, over some pussy. Do you know, if anything, Kelvin Hunter ought to be mad at himself. You really ruined everything that you helped build because you couldn't keep your dick in your pants and didn't even have enough decency to put on a condom. They tried their best to make her feel like you can be tough and have power over him, to be really mean, but she could not front. It was killing her inside. Wendy wasn't built like that. When I was around, Wendy's day ended when she left that building, but mine didn't. There was always something that needed to be done or needed to be took. I was a common denominator in every department. I believe it. I believe what Kevin's saying on some of the stuff. Some of the stuff he's just full of shit. Um, Including decor, wardrobe, and guest. You know, yo, my thing is this: with all the things she accomplished, hold up. With all the things she's accomplished as influential as she was, they chose to make everything about the scandal. The Lifetime movie and the documentary, it was all about the scandal, and that's pathetic. No, it was about your scandal. I almost called that man a bitch. Girl, it was a girl. You know what the problem is? This is what we do as people. That's why the diva be saying, "Be careful of the role you play." We want to go around and do what we want to do, right? And then get mad when the spotlight is on us for doing what we did. It's kind of like Juan. I'm so happy Juan Dixon is not here right now. Girl, it's like Juan Dixon, on Real Housewives of Potomac. Juan gets aggravated with Robin anytime Robin brings up anything that happened in the past in their relationship. Well, Juan, guess what, mother? If you wouldn't have been doing what you was doing, Robin couldn't bring up nothing. Guess what, Kelvin? If you weren't doing what you was doing, it wouldn't be no scandal. It wouldn't be nothing to talk about. There was nothing I liked about the final episode of the Wendy Williams show. I had to watch it from home. Girl, whatever. He talks about Wendy coming out of rehab. We were going through a divorce, and the news of my baby came out. I wasn't going to miss the birth. Hold up. Okay. I wasn't going to miss the birth of my daughter, and people saw me at the hospital. Truth be told, we should have got a divorce 10 years earlier. Even our son, Kevin, said that to us. Girl, I be trying to tell y'all, girl, if anything, girl, kids be knowing. Kids know. And I've said this before. I remember when my mama was married. When my mother was married to my stepfather, I don't know if my sister remembers. My sister that lives here in Houston. I remember me and my sister having a conversation one time saying we just hope they hurry up and get a divorce. Because all they did was fuss and fight. All I heard was my mama crying. All I saw was her eyes bloodshot red. Right? So it's like, girl, y'all don't know how much y'all put on children, thinking that the best thing for the children is for you to stay together for the kids. I need my kids to have a stepdaddy. I need my kids to have a daddy. I want I want a 2-parent household. Whatever y'all telling yourselves, but the only thing y'all doing is really just putting unneeded stress, depression on your kids. Now they don't even want to be in the house. I'm just telling y'all, girl. I'm telling y'all from experience, child. And I'm sure a lot of people could say the same thing who had to deal with that. Anyways, child. But anyways, when the news is out, I told her I would step down from the show, and Wendy told me I need to stay because I was having a kid. I stayed only later to be lined up. I got fired from management, served divorce papers, and also fired from the show all in the same day. I be telling y'all, like, I don't know what y'all think, gonna happen at these jobs whenever y'all decide. From TJ Holmes to Kelvin Hunter to who else was talking about Emi Udoka with his fine ass trifling. Neil Long's ex fiance. I don't know what y'all think happen when y'all go to these jobs and cut up and act a fool. You're not gonna have your job at the end of the day. TJ Holmes, girl, I'm sure is probably gonna be without employment by the end of this week or next week. If he regains employment at Good Morning America, I would be completely surprised. But anyways, girl. The interviewer says, you know, you had to know that a celebrity divorce, a baby, and a mistress would bring that heat in many ways. And then he replied, Kelvin Hunter Sr., that's what he calls himself. I get that the fans feel that I was sneaking around and that I hurt Wendy, but in reality, Wendy had caught me years before with Sharina, and I came clean and I asked her if she wanted to end the marriage, and she didn't, so we stayed together. We've already talked about, we knew Wendy knew about Sharina. It wasn't Sharina, it was the baby. The baby is what's still the deal for their marriage. If Kevin never would have got Sharina pregnant, Wendy would still be on the air. Kevin would still be married to Wendy. Sharina would still be in the background. It is what it is, girl. I have often wondered what would it have been better just to end it then. I was too afraid of what would happen to Wendy if I wasn't there. Y'all be having the weirdest way of caring about people. Now that it's ended in divorce, I can say that I'm healthier, happier, and I'm no longer dependent on marijuana. But you dependent on her money, though. Girl, I said you got to have a whole bunch of dick and balls and pussy lips. Baby, the way Sharina and Kevin was posted up in them pictures, girl, I said, girl, Sharina, girl, I don't know if you know, I don't know if you, girl, everything, girl, that house you got is based off Wendy's money. Because from what Kevin said, girl, he broke. He can't even pay his car insurance. And y'all standing up there posing like y'all some happy couple. That's what I be saying, y'all, girl. That's what I be saying, y'all. We have to stop looking at some of these couples like, girl, they got together just because, like, they were single people who met at the gym. Girl, no tea, no shade, not to bring that heifer into the conversation, but y'all know I'm about to bring that heifer into it. Like PJ's mama. Girl, y'all rejoicing and happy that PJ's mama is married to Simon, acting like these was two. Like, do y'all know how they met? Girl, why y'all happy? Like, Sharina, do you know how you met Kelvin? Kelvin, do you know how you met Sharina? Nigga, you was married. I'm no longer hiding my relationship and I have a beautiful daughter. You can't hide your relationship, girl, because everybody know and Wendy divorced your black ass, okay? I have a beautiful daughter. Journey is 3 years later, so I'm not one to make excuses, but until a person has lived in a relationship with someone with multiple addictions, it's easy to say from the outside what a person should have done, but until you live it, nobody knows. In the beginning, I had a wife who was a well-known radio personality. Excuse me. And when I had the idea of taking her to television, neither of us were prepared for that level of success. I can honestly say that I was confident that the show would be a success, but I had no idea what worldwide stardom would do, the amount of scrutiny and pressure that would come, and the everyday stress and demands getting Wendy ready to do the show became a struggle. I saw this every day, and I wasn't able to help my wife kick these habits. Everyone else got to go home after the show. So it sounds like Wendy was already going through something behind the scenes that we didn't know about. I mean, girl, when you got a nigga who I heard cheating on you and getting bitches pregnant, girl, I'm sure. Let me shut up. I had to prepare for tomorrow's show, then go home and try to keep my wife from ending up in a position where she couldn't work the next day. Looking back, now I realize I was living life like the countless spouses of mates with addictions. I want to know if Kevin realizes that he played a he. Okay, I don't know. Okay, I don't want to say that. Wendy was already, I think Wendy was already doing drugs before Kevin, I believe, because I think she was doing like a little coke. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like I wonder if Kevin knows or thinks that him doing the stuff that he did was probably also part of the reason why later on, after Wendy was clean and sober, whatever she was going through at that point, because he never really said in the interview, girl, that you probably played a part in that too. Hold up. Because I'm not reading all of this, girl. It was one part, when I tell you Kelvin was basically saying, Kelvin basically was saying that, girl, he had to give Sharina her props because if it wasn't for Sharina, basically no telling where he would be. Bitch. This is when he was married. So he have to give Sharina her props because if it wasn't for Sharina, Sharina was the reason why he didn't have anybody to talk to, and Sharina was that person that I guess was there for him. I said, bitch, you should have went and got you a therapist. If you like, girl, y'all kill me. Y'all kill me. You want somebody to talk to, bitch? Go get a therapist. Don't go with no side bitch and get her pregnant. What the fuck? Girl, what do y'all be thinking? I be so confused with these niggas. I don't know, child. I don't fucking know. He talked about Charlemagne the God. Charlemagne was the one who introduced him to Sharina. I don't know if Charlemagne introduced him to Sharina as like, this could be your girl, or if it was just like, oh, this is one of my homegirls, Sharina. Sharina, this is Kevin, and they just end up fucking. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know what the introduction was about. He talks about Charlemagne and says that Charlemagne got some secrets, and Charlemagne is not the person that people think that he is. But he's not going to go into he's not really going to go into the details until he writes his book. So Kevin has a book basically coming out. This is all I have to say. Kevin, you a hot ass mess. Sharina, you a hot ass mess. I don't even know how y'all even sleep at night. Sharina, I don't even know how your pussy get wet for a nigga knowing that he can't even pay the bills. And required is kept the only reason why you was paying the bills the other day, girl, was based off Wendy Williams' money. I don't even know, Sharina, how you can even send your ass up and take a picture for this article, girl. Because Quiet just kept everything you got on came from Wendy Williams' Wells Fargo account. Girl. Them braids, that black dress, them heels was all purchased by Wendy Williams. I'm trying to understand how did Kevin go from being a I guess this is what we talk about all the time, girl. Kevin went from being a multimillionaire to being pretty much broke and not being able to pay his car note. You got to have a whole bunch of dick and balls and pussy lips to be posted up like y'all. You're like, I. Girl, it is. Girl, that's y'all business. Girl, after 30 minutes, that's y'all business. Girl, do what y'all want to do. Girl, I don't even care. Ow! Oh, child. Do what y'all want to do. This video is getting way too long. Way too long. All right, y'all. Yeah, this video getting too long. Hold on, let me see if there's anything else that we need to discuss before I leave. Okay, girl. Yeah, that's it, girl. This video getting too long anyways. All right, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye, y'all.